Everyone, do you see my screen? Okay. Hi. So I'll start with a brief overview about TDNet. First, I want to thank Matt and Daniel and our friends at Lean Library for the great collaboration working on this integration between Lean Library and TDNet Discover. And we are very happy to be able to share some of the details around this exciting partnership. So TDNet, we are a software provider that partners with library to really improve access to knowledge and increase the library's value. And we do it first and foremost by providing cutting edge technology. We are a software provider. Our sole focus is to provide technology solution to library. And we combine the technology with high quality content that we have through our relationships with content providers, as well as our professional services. So we employ teams of developers, sales engineers, information specialists, and more that help libraries to achieve their strategic goals. And I think what makes the integration with library so exciting is that it's completely resonate with our mission that by bringing the library, the TDNet Discover, right into the patron workflow, we will reduce barriers to knowledge and increase the library's impact. So we serve libraries across a range of industries. We serve many biomedical, special, and corporate libraries, as well as academic and public libraries. So we used to work with libraries of varying sizes from different industries and really aim to provide tailored solution to the specific needs of the libraries we work with, whether it's based on the size of the library or the type of institution that the library serves. So over this, we were fortunate enough to grow quite significantly. And currently, we serve with our TDNet Discover platform more than 0.5 million users worldwide. And it's extremely important for us that our service will be accessible to our users anytime. So obviously 24/7. Anyhow, whether our users are using a computer, tablet, or cell phone, the service will be easily accessible to them and from anywhere, 24/7. And we've seen it in the pandemic that is so important to have the service easily accessible to users, whether they are on-site or off-site. So all our solutions are fully hosted and can be accessed over the internet. So a few words about our TDNet Discover solution. So we've really become a one-stop solution for the e-library by providing a unified solution of discovery, content management, knowledge management tools, and remote access and authentication. And so our discovery search, we maintain a massive curated central index, and the index is powered by the most advanced search technologies in the industry. Our content management solution offers libraries to create their own customized library portal. So really the digital web presence of the library, a place where users can easily see everything the library has to offer, communicate with the library teams, engage with their colleagues, and more. Our integrated link resolver is part of our system, no need to purchase it separately, fully integrated, and it can link the users to the full text regardless of where the user's journey starts, whether they are searching on TDNet Discover or public databases such as Google Scholar. And I think now with the integration we will have with a Lean Library, will not be able only to link users to the full text when they are searching on public databases, but also bring the search results to the workflow. So it's an additional layer of accessibility to knowledge, which is very exciting. Our library catalog it's a built-in based on our knowledge base. And in the last year, we also expanded our knowledge management tools by adding institutional repository functionality. So that can that enable libraries and institutions to create their own repository, storing and indexing and creating metadata for the content that is specific to them. And we are also the oldest partners of OpenAthens, and via this partnership, we offer a seamless remote access to library resources via single sign-on. So what users searching for when they are searching on TDNet Discover? So this is a single search across the entire library collections and much more. In our index, we include content from numerous primary and secondary publishers, and it's many different types of content and resources. So when you are searching on TDNet Discover, you'll be able to find journals and journals articles, books and chapters, databases, including abstract and indexing databases. We can also include your local documents in the search, whether the local documents are hosted on a third-party platform that we connect to, or you can use our repositories to store your local documents there and have it easily searchable and accessible to our discovery platform. And we also have unique integrations with providers of competitive intelligence, drug discovery, and clinical point of care information, and much more. Today, we index over 350 million scholarly e-resources. We cover in our index and knowledge base more than 53,000 publishers in aggregator collections and more than 500,000 unique open access titles. And our index is being updated on a daily basis. So when we look on the futures, a couple of words on some of the things we are going to continue build on as we create the next generation of the discovery experience. So we are now integrating the most advanced search technologies in the industry, such as natural language processing, artificial intelligence, and machine learning that can really make the search engine smarter, understand the user's searches not only based on keyword, but also based on the context and meaning of the search to be able to identify within documents correlation, relationships. So everything eventually help our researchers to get the information they need easier and faster. Our knowledge management tool, including our repository, we want to take the discovery experience behind just commercial resources to an all-in-one inclusive solution of the research information you need. We offer data metrics, and this includes citation metrics, such as where the article is cited, which articles are citing this article, but also non-traditional metrics, such as where an article is being discussed and shared over the internet across non-scholarly platforms, such as social media, news policy, news policy documents, reading platforms, and more. And via our partnership with Altmetric, all this information is readily available on our platform. Our statistics and reporting tools really are very deep, in-depth statistics that help libraries to better understand their user needs, to showcase the library's value, and eventually also make better decisions in terms of the library development. And we always look, and we continue to have solutions that are fully customizable. So we know that every customer is unique. So we are giving the customers the tool to create a customized discovery experience in terms of workflows, content, display functionalities, to build for them the discovery experience they need based on their users' preferences. And also, to make the most of the discovery experience, we are combining personalization features. So user can make the most of their own discovery experience by setting up alerts, preference, workflows, and more. So this is some of the things will be continue building on as we moving forward. And now I will hand it over to Matt and Daniel. So thanks very much. And if you have any questions, of course, don't hesitate to contact me.
Thanks so much, Nir. That was fantastic, because I think really understanding the value of TDNet gives us a great introduction to how we think Lean Library can add value by bringing TDNet into the patrons' workflow. So thank you so much for that. And also, I loved hearing about the work to enhance discovery. I'm just going to share my screen. Hi again, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us. Daniel and I are going to take you through a little introduction to Lean Library, and then we'll showcase the integration. Please do put any questions and comments in the chat as we go, and then we'll all endeavor to monitor that, either address it as we're talking or leave plenty of time at the end. So in terms of introduction to Lean Library, I just want to play you this short video, which gives you a really good sense of what we're all about. So hopefully you can see from that that we are very much about trying to bring library services and resources into user workflows. And we do that through our browser extension. Our mission is to help redefine and amplify the power of the academic library to advance student learning and researcher impact. So we very much know that that is the end goal that we're working towards. In terms of redefining the library, the mission of the library, I just wanted to highlight to you a white paper that we published last week called Librarian Futures. The aim of this white paper is to chart the future of the librarian-patron relationship. So to see in the network digital age, with most library users accessing their library services and resources off campus and online, how can the library insert itself into that user workflow and become even more relevant than before in supporting them meet their learning outcomes and their research objectives. So do please go to our website and download a copy. It's entirely free, and there's lots of really interesting findings. We've brought together a survey of over 4,000 librarians and patrons, as well as interviews with librarians and stakeholders, and shared some data points from Lean Library as well that give an insight into the modern patron workflow. There are some highlights that I wanted to share today because they're very relevant to the integration with TDNet that we're going to show you in a bit. So the first highlight is that the modern patron workflow largely begins outside the library. So if you look at this survey result on the left-hand side, we found that an average of 77%, 79% of faculty and 74% of students begin their discovery process outside the library, with a large number using Google and Google Scholar. And you can see we've also brought in findings from our own Lean Library data as well on the popularity of Google Scholar. However, that does not mean that patrons want to be left to their own devices. When we asked patrons whether they would like the library more deeply embedded in their workflow, specifically through the idea of a comprehensive application of their library that they could access at any point online, almost 90% of patrons said yes. And what do patrons mean by that? Well, we'll come to that in a moment, but just to get you thinking, I would love to hear if you could contribute to the chat and just post this in the Zoom chat box, what initiatives you are currently implementing in your library to bring your library into the patron workflow, whether that is particular tools you're using or you've integrated reading list software with learning management systems, or you've put library help on your discovery service. I'd love to hear any and all initiatives that you are currently doing at your library to bring your services and resources into the patron workflow. Please put those in the chat, and we'd love to share them with the rest of the audience at the end. So to take forward that previous finding that patrons do really want their library embedded in their workflows, this is the finding that's particularly relevant to our integration with TDNet. So when we asked patrons whether they would like their library's discovery service embedded in their workflow, a huge number said yes, so even higher than the overall comfort level with having the library in the workflow. 93% of faculty and 89% of students said that embedding library discovery in other open search tools they use would be extremely or very desirable. And there's a very good little comment there from one of the survey respondents that having their library's discovery service integrated alongside Google would be a value add, because they don't have to just use one over the other. They actually would really value having the two side by side, because they often use multiple search tools when beginning their discovery process. So that's what we're going to show you later on. In terms of anything else you need to know about Lean Library, the other thing to highlight is our product range. So in terms of how we amplify the power of the academic library, returning to that mission, we have 3 core products. We have our access tool, we have our partnership with SpringShare workflow for LibGuides that brings LibGuides into patron workflows. And then we have Lean Library Futures, which is our comprehensive application for the library to bring all your services and resources into your user workflows. And it's really Lean Library Futures that we're going to be talking about today. The benefits of Lean Library Futures are to, first of all, streamline access to academic content and resources. And Daniel's going to show you some examples of that later. To enhance discoverability of services and resources. So that's where we'll show you how we can enhance discoverability of your TDNet discovery service, to grow usage of those services and resources, and as a result, to increase visibility and impact. And in doing all this, the intention is to give you an application for your library that sits on your patron's desktop in their workflow, available to them any moment that they need it. And we believe that can be part of this broader aim that I know that many librarians have, of shifting from being a destination that their users need to come to, whether it's the physical building or the library's online infrastructure, instead to a next generation for the library, where the library can be embedded in the life of the user and be entirely user-oriented in how they deliver their patron services. So I hope that's a good introduction to Lean Library and to the service that this TDNet integration leverages. And with that said, I'm going to hand over to Daniel, who will go into the integration showcase.
Thank you so much, Matt. There we are. Right. So before actually we're going to be showing to you how this specific integration with the TDNet discovery works, I really just wanted to take a brief moment and get back to one of the key points that Matt told us about, that came out from the white paper as well. Now, I'm sure that many of you are already familiar with this evergreen question as well. How do your users currently find resources when off campus? And I'm also sure that many of you, even before Matt told you about our findings with the white paper, have had an idea about, well, how your students or users find their or they even just do their general research workflow. And really, with this research, I think, is just another proof that many of your users will tend to start on Google and Google Scholar as opposed to the library discovery. Now, the way we see at it or look at it is really, I think it's really a little bit of a shame, because libraries spend tremendous amount of time and effort in order to help and support and to provide all the supported and licensed materials through the discovery. And if the users don't start there, then they will get into a process that can be a little bit cumbersome. in order to get access, especially when your users are off campus. Now, this process we call the ManyClick Nightmare, and I think many of you are familiar with this nightmare as well. Essentially, when we consider the users that would start their research on Google Scholar and just find a resource that just pops up by Google Scholar, and then you get to the publisher site, and then you always have to find your way through many clicks to first identify your institution, or even in some cases just to find the authentication method that your institution has in place, after which finally you're going to be able to log in and get to the article page in full text, after which you're going to get to the actual step that you want to do, either read the paper or just to download it right later. Now, according to what we see is that it is approximately 12 clicks and is just shy of 4 minutes, which is really quite time consuming. As opposed to this, with one of our previous integration, the Google Scholar integration that integrates with TDNet Discovery, this user journey looks more like this. When a user that uses our extension, which will then automatically identify the user with the affiliation, essentially to which institution the user belongs to, we are able to make Google Scholar provide full text hyperlinks that will take the user straight to the discovery by clicking it. You see, whenever an article is in full text, you'll see something like that next to the article, which will then take really to the discovery, the user. Now, after that, it really is just one more click that will take the user to the article. And this is, again, the library licensed article in just three clicks. So this takes approximately 1 minute. And I really hope that through this and through these additional 5 features, you're going to get the hang of what we mean by being able to support your patrons in their workflow. And I really just wanted to provide you a few more examples. What other features we are able to do this within Lean Library Access. Now, we're proud to be the only provider that provides ebook alternatives, and we're able to do that by integrating with your holdings information system. So, of course, we do that through the TDNet link resolver 2 that helps us finding alternative locations. For example, when your patrons look for a specific ebook on Amazon and just about to purchase that, we are able to redirect them to the full text location by just a single click. This, of course, works with academic articles as well. And so we are able to do that. We are able to provide alternative locations either through institutional licenses. But if that's not available, we're able to help the patrons through our open access repositories that we do with Unpaywall and Core.ac. One of the additional benefits is that all of this works on aggregator source content, which is, generally speaking, a little bit more difficult to do as well. And in the last case scenario, when no institutionally licensed location is available, nor is any open access version to be found, then we're still able to integrate and provide the ILL or DDS integration to your patrons, being able to redirect them to the order form which will already be pre-populated for your patrons with the academic articles metadata that the patron just visited previously. And finally, we provide a feature that's called assist messages, which is essentially a tool with which you are able to provide customized messages on any selected locations. This could be, for example, very useful in cases such as the New York Times situation that we see being used by many institutions. And the reason for that is because New York Times many times is a licensed location. However, traditionally this is not licensed through the institution's main authentication system, so it can be a little bit difficult to authenticate. But with this tool, you are able to customize a message and provide additional steps, or just help with an email address, for example, where your patrons are able to get your credentials through which they are able to read resources on New York Times. We're being asked many times how difficult it is to download the extension. It really is super easy. So this video is just to demonstrate to you what it looks in reality. So you can just really search for download Lean Library, and the first hit is going to take you to our website. Apologies, it was a little bit too quick. where you're able to select, where you're able to download the extension. And we support at this point all the major browsers. So that's Chrome, Firefox, Edge, Internet Explorer, and Opera, and of course Safari too. Now, after you have downloaded the extension, the last and only thing that you really have to do as configuration is to select your institution that is going that you can see in the. I'm very sorry for that. So here in the drop-down list, you're able to select your institution, after which the extension will know to which authentication system or which holdings information system to be integrated with. It really is as easy like that. And just to summarize all of this, I really wanted to show you, wanted to show you again a short screen grab that will demonstrate how users starting their research from Google Scholar are going to be able to get to a full text article really quite quickly. In this case, the user is looking for carpal tunnel syndrome, after which Google Scholar gets automatically enhanced. And by clicking the redirection URL, the user is able to authenticate themselves for the first time. It is important to mention that it really is just required to be done once within a browser session, after which you're going to be able to get to the full text article straight away. However, I think the most exciting part of our webinar today is really just going to be demonstrating how this discovery integration, how does this work? And before getting right to that, I really just wanted to highlight one more phrase from a research, which essentially says that help is the most helpful when it comes at the point of need, and that's what we are trying to do with the discovery integration as well. This discovery integration is available already on Google and Google Scholar, but we're continuing to work to expand the supported search engines to many more, which will come later. And this is how the integration looks in practice. In this case, the user looks for, well, again, for the same article. Carpal tunnel syndrome. And when Matt mentioned that we provide this application to your institution through Lean Library Futures, essentially what you see on the right-hand side of the screen is really the institution's icon. It's essentially the application already, but then it's being minimized. So when a user hovers over that, this menu with all the available resources, such as, for example, the discovery integration included, are available. So in this scenario, the end user will click the library search, which will then replicate the search term that the user has sent to Google Scholar, and we will do this search parallelly to TDNet's discovery, and we will provide all the responses that come from TDNet. Now, at this point, the user can do actually two things. Either one of the research results are exciting enough to create straight to that, and that will just take the user to the article, to the content page of the discovery, or the user can then get to the search results page by clicking this URL or the view more results there. In this example, I believe we're just going to take this workflow until the authentication page, which again is to be done only once within a browser session. So I really hope again that with this screen grab, we are able to convey what we mean by being what we mean by supporting your patrons in the workflow. And also what I wanted to focus and what I wanted to emphasize with this as well is that and going back to the mission, what Matt mentioned as well, this feature not only doesn't only help your patrons with finding relevant research results through the discovery, but at the same time, it also enhances discoverability and enhances usage on your discovery. Now, at the moment, we are able to provide basic stats, and that means that we are able to count how many times your patrons have initiated this integration from the workflow librarian, so from the sidebar extension. And furthermore, we are able to collect data about how many times they have clicked, any of the search results. It's an interesting statistic that we have seen, that we are able to see by now with some of our developing partners for similar discovery integrations, is that it seems that from every 5 times the patrons initiate this integration, there is over 1 person that then clicks into any of the provided articles. So the transaction rate seems to be around a bit over 1 out of 5. With regards of configuration, well, the only information that we will need for this to be configured is essentially an API key that we will be able to get from TDNet. And well, our implementation team is going to do the heavy lifting and the configuration for this. So the only thing that you will have to decide is the number of injected search results that get added to Google Scholar or Google. I hope it was exciting. And having said that, I'd like to give it back to Matt, who's going to tell you more about some of the already existing case studies and results.
Thanks so much, Daniel. Yes, so in terms of the benefits, we think, so the first benefit, and that's why I mentioned it was so powerful for Nir to explain TDNet's work on enhancing discovery at the outset. We really believe that it may be true that patrons really like the convenience and the ease of use of Google Scholar, but inevitably, as they progress through their undergraduate degree, and particularly as you become a postgraduate and beyond, you're always going to want to move into advanced precision searching and curated browsing tools. Discovery services that look at only high quality content, which a library discovery service by its nature does, but also that is expert in finding the right content for your search, as opposed to the broadness of Google and Google Scholar. So I think that's the main benefit here, to ensure that you're increasing the value of the discovery process for your users. In quantitative terms, we also know from case studies with our library partners that whenever we streamline access to content, so I suppose the delivery of content, we know that usage of the library's collection goes up. So this is a case study with NHS Merseycare, where we saw a 40% increase in usage of the collection. And if you look at some of the examples there, EBSCO, Elsevier, and others, I mean, particularly with EBSCO, the reason why that increase is so high is because we often find that when libraries subscribe to publisher content through aggregators, if the user lands on the publisher page outside of the library, the publisher has no idea that that institution has access. And so that's where Lean Library can step in to say that you do have access to this content, but via an aggregator. So we see particularly high increase in usage for content that you've acquired via an aggregator. But we see it consistently across all publishers, because we're just reducing those turnaways and the giving up that patrons often do when they can't quickly get to the subscribed content. So that's, I suppose, increased usage in terms of the delivery of content. In terms of discovery, we also know that when we have surfaced library services and resources in the workflow, we see increased usage of those services and resources. So the earliest integration that we did was with SpringShare's LibGuides. And here we saw that in a like-for-like period, I don't have my video is hiding the percentage increase. I think it's 600% is the increase here. Oh, thank you, everyone. Yeah, so after we had integrated their LibGuides with the browser extension, so we could surface the LibGuide for Google Scholar on Google Scholar, or the LibGuide for Springer Nature on Springer Nature, we saw a 600% increase in use of their LibGuides. And we've only just launched this TDNet integration, but we expect to see similar increase in usage once you can increase convenience for your patrons of accessing the TDNet discovery tool in the workflow, but also increase awareness that your library is invested in this powerful discovery tool. So with that being said, I think it's time to turn over to questions. I'm going to just stop sharing screen. I can see that Nora Batty has said, we have just implemented LibKey to provide better access to content. So LibKey is also a fantastic service. Actually, in our particular case, this is a different type of feature set. So if you have Third Iron, which is the parent company of LibKey, we have many customers that use Third Iron as well. And Third Iron is particularly good for that link resolver technology. What you've seen here with Lean Library Futures, and particularly the TDNet integration, is that idea of going beyond streamlining access to content and also trying to actually bring library services and resources into workflows through the browser extension. So in that respect, if you have Third Iron, that's great. We can, we're happy to introduce you to other libraries that use both as well. Nora, incidentally, if you can be interested to hear which university you're from and your experience as well, because that's always great to hear. I'm just seeing if we've got other questions in the chat. Oh, I think, Tali, should we? Is that?
By mistake, I guess.
Is my mistake? Is that a mistake?
Hello.
Oh, sorry, we just saw your hand up, that's all.
Oh.
Well, I think I can speak to the questions we often get asked. So I'll put those to Daniel and to Nir, actually. The first question would be to Daniel. We often get asked, what's the difference between surfacing those TDNet search results in Google Scholar and the Google Scholar integrations that we may already have with our discovery service to direct to full text?
I mean, Google Scholar will provide lots of search results, which is generally speaking super nice, right? But as we showed with the ManyClick process, even if that particular result is something that is being licensed through the institution, which happens to be not all the time, of course. So many results on Google Scholar will be just directing to articles that are not licensed through the institution. But essentially what we do there is we just make sure that all the results that come back from TDNet, first of all, are curated content, and all of those are content to which all your users should really have access to. And well, we cut corners again many times there, because when the user clicks on any of the search results, we just take them directly to the discovery instead of to the one of the publication sites.
Thanks so much, Daniel. Then a question for Nir, actually. This question came up in a Charleston panel last week as well. So the question was, with the investment that that Google and Google Scholar put in their search tools, could you speak to the additional value that a discovery service like TDNet brings through its particular area of expertise around academic content that differentiates it from the kind of search that patrons could experience through Google and Google Scholar?
Yeah, definitely. I think one difference that also Daniel mentioned in his answer is about the quality of the content, about having a content that is curated and more tailored to the needs of our customers. And we also have unique content integrations that you cannot find on Google Scholar, such as for medical customers, point of care information or drug discovery, or competitive intelligence information that can be very important. But also our academic content, it's after it's been through a review process. So we want to index a content that is quality, that was peer reviewed, that is the kind of the content that the library would want to provide to their users. So it's an ongoing process that we have a TDNet information specialist that look to make these partnerships with publishers to bring this high quality content that is available through our discovery. So it's not always about, I think, the amount of content. It's sometimes quality is more important than quantity, because nowadays there is a vast amount of data, and also because there is so much data out there, it's important to have, we of course integrate search technologies that can identify a relationship, understand the context of the search, and provide better search results. So we invest a lot in bringing this innovative technology to the discovery experience, to have it. I know that Google also invests a lot, but sometimes if you serve specific amount, specific types of customers, so having a technology such an NLP that was tailored to the needs of our customer, that's a big advantage, because you can have it like as a general applicability, but having actually, we for example, for the medical, for our biomedical customers, we had, in effect, we employed doctors, medical professionals that reviewed the data, tagged articles, and then initiated the machine learning process, and have like and then enable us to apply the search technologies to the benefit of our user in a way that I don't believe that now even Google, that serve many types of users, they can do, but I don't believe that they have the willingness to to do something like that. And of course, discovery search is also connected to the library subscriptions, to the library resources. Google is Google, and you search in Google, you get whatever results you have. The discovery search is, you get an immediate indication if this is an item that is part of your subscription, if you have an access to, if it's tied to your institutional holdings. So that's additional advantage of searching on TDNet. So I think on discovery tools in large. So I think this combination of a curated and more focused content, as well as the connection and to the library holdings, and also I think the advanced search functionalities. Okay, there is in Google, you have Google-like search, and we provide in the discovery search a Google-like search, but that's good for inexperienced users. For experienced users, they sometimes want to have more advanced search capabilities, searching through customized facets and filters, using search strategies that are tailored for their needs, that are available in a discovery platform and not so much in public databases.
Thank you so much, Nir. And actually that connects really interestingly with a bit of analysis that we include in our white paper, Librarian Futures, where we had permission from Cambridge University to look at their patron reading habits, because they're a Lean Library partner. And we put those reading habits through the citation context knowledge base. And we identified that actually, even with patrons at one of the world's most prestigious universities, they are still accessing retracted content, and in some cases content that has been disputed by other academics. That case study is in that report, and it does suggest that there is added benefit to libraries being able to help guide their patrons to the best possible content and to that curation. Then there's another question, Daniel, that often arises with regard to the browser extension, and that would be how do libraries ensure good uptake of the browser extension to get their patrons to download and use it?
There's actually a number of tools that we started providing, and there are a number of tools that have always been available to universities. Now, obviously, that is something that we rely on the university's marketing capabilities, but this extension can also be mass deployed to all university PCs if that's something that the university wants. And now, recently, we've been working out quite a few tools that will help you communicating about the extension and helping your patrons getting to know about it and effectively making them download it. Now, we recently launched a customizable download page, which will be placed via Lean Library and the institution, where we would like to help the patrons to get to know about it. And we are also working currently on a point of need messaging code generator. Now, what it will do is that it will effectively create a code snippet that then can be injected to any of your directly curated websites, such as your discovery or university website or authentication page. And that would also remind the users through this kind of badge that will have a customizable text, of course, but usually would offer something. It would suggest something like download Lean Library for streamlined access with, of course, designed with the university's own design language. So all of these tools combined with social media activity seems to be the most effective altogether. We've seen great successes when all of these are handled together. So I think probably Utrecht University and Vrije University from the Netherlands are the most successful universities so far. They seem to have seem to have achieved approximately 60% of their full FTE with regards of downloaded extensions and active user counts. So that's really quite exceptional. But generally speaking, over all of our customers, we see a 25% uptake. But we do believe that with these additionally provided tools, we're going to be able to even higher that.
Thanks so much, Daniel. And then maybe finally, I'm sure there'll be some TDNet library customers here that we wanting to ask, how do they get started? So what does implementation look like? How easy is it for libraries to get this up and running?
Now, the majority of the implementation is actually handled by Lean Library. And as mentioned, our support and implementation team will be working together with the library. But most importantly, what it really means in practice is that we would only need a few details, such as your holdings information system, access information. In this discovery integrations case, it will be the API key that we even will communicate with TDNet directly. So once we obtained all of these information that are just information about your own library software and system, we will do the configuration, which will take you approximately to 98% of final configuration. I say 98 because the rest of the 2% are kind of customization instead of configuration. And this process, again, is done in a joint collaborative way between the library and most importantly, our support team.
Thanks so much. Well, we don't have any further questions. So unless anyone would like to make any final comments or anything that you feel we missed out, I think we could say a big thank you to all of our audience for joining us. And thank you on Lean Library's behalf as well to TDNet. It's been such a pleasure to work with you since the very beginning when we worked to integrate to streamline access, and now to this really innovative process of bringing your powerful discovery service into user workflows. Yeah, we look forward to hearing from each of the attendees afterwards as well, and hope to take this forward further.
Excellent. Thanks very much, and thanks everyone for joining. And yes, Matt, it's been a real pleasure working with you and Daniel and all of our friends at Lean Library on this implementation.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Great rest of the
Bye-bye.
day, everyone. Take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.